We are back inside the TCO studios. It is the Fox game of the week, Vikings versus Saints. And on that call this upcoming Friday at the Superdome, alongside Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, the sideline reporter, Miss Kristina Pink. Kristina, happy holidays, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you as well.
Thank you, thank you. So leading up to this week, we always hear the coaches and players talk about, this is a weird week, this is, a holiday week, and you try not to get distracted by all the festivities surrounding it. But for you, on the other side of the spectrum, what is this week like for you guys?
So it's actually a little odd because we're talking about a holiday season in the midst of a pandemic and, all the other factors that are involved. So for the most part, I still kind of try to stay home and do everything virtually, phone calls and all that. I'm not in the same place as my family. They're all back in Florida and I live in Los Angeles. So oddly enough, this is still kind of a very normal week for me. It's usually when I step outside and I see Christmas lights and all this holiday stuff. And I'm like, no, this is week 16. What do you mean about the holidays? So you'll get a different answer from a lot of different people, but for me, it's the same thing. I work Thanksgiving as well. So I kind of treat the game weeks the same. And I think most people in this business will say, what's the holiday again?
Yeah, it's what we sign up for, right?
Exactly. But I love it. So no complaints over here.
So here we are, Christmas Day, Vikings versus Saints. These are two teams that, are really trying to win this game, but, both teams are vying for two different spots as far as postseason. With all the storylines surrounding this game, what are some things that stand out to you?
So one thing I kind of talked about earlier, I was talking to someone earlier and I said, I'm so excited I get to use my favorite Dumb and Dumber line. So you're telling me there's a chance. And that is the situation for Minnesota right now, because obviously it feels like they might not be in contention, but there's still that little bit of hope. So you have to take care of business and take care of what you can control in these last two games. And then you worry about what Arizona, Chicago, those two teams a little bit later. But then you have the history between these two teams, and the Saints have been on the bad end of some very brutal playoff losses. And so I think that the NFL knew what they were doing when they put this game on Christmas Day, because this is the traditional throw the records out the window, because these two teams kind of have a flair for the dramatics. And that's what I'm hoping for. The energy and the intensity still feels like it'll be the same thing, even though the circumstances between the two teams are a little bit different.
A guy that has a history with both teams, Justin Jefferson. He grew up in New Orleans, plays for the Minnesota Vikings. He just made the Pro Bowl, and, just his success this early on. What do you think that means for the NFL with a guy that young having this success this soon?
It's huge. I mean, to think at that age, to be able to make a Pro Bowl. And by the way, I lived in New Orleans for a little bit, so it's one of my favorite cities. So hearing him talk about going back home, he obviously just played there in a national championship. I'm excited for this stage for him because he knew he was ready for this stage. Obviously, he didn't start until week 3, but what he's been able to accomplish, I mean, he's already breaking records and Randy Moss's records, and he still has more records that could come down in the next couple of games. He's so fun to watch. He's making tough catches in traffic, and he's able to make plays. And I think this is, really fun when you see kind of the young stars in the league shining in those kinds of moments.
The Vikings, they want to win this game, similar to last year. Nobody's really giving this team a chance. But like you said in the beginning, we have been on the good end of the stick, winning these close games in the playoffs. This isn't a playoff game, but somehow it feels like a playoff game. So how do the Vikings win this upcoming Friday on Christmas Day?
Well, yeah, I think they have to stay focused, right? Because you can't listen to everyone on the outside where you read all these papers and people are talking about the draft and what they need to do here in the offseason. It's like there's still 2 more games to play, and anything could happen, especially when you factor in that the home field advantage is gone in New Orleans when there's only, 3,000 fans that are going to be in the building. That crowd noise played a huge factor in that game. But I do think, they've got a young defense, a defense that's obviously been decimated by injuries this year. But if these young guys can step up on that stage against the future Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees, I think that is going to be really important for this team. You're not going to be able to stop them completely, but to slow them down, play better in the red zone will be really important for them.
Absolutely. 3:30 p.m. Central Time, Vikings versus Saints. Kristina Pink. Can't wait. Also, happy holidays. Thank you for joining me again. Merry Christmas. Stay safe.
Thank you. Great talking to you. Happy holidays as well.